Hello my dear students and welcome to your favorite educational YouTube channel English Wali Ma'am, or as you popularly know me on YouTube, Educator Prerna. So आज हमारी OTT सीरीज बाय डे 54 नो हाउ टू गेट द परफेक्ट स्कोर का एपिसोड 36 है और आज के एपिसोड में वी आर गोइंग टू बी स्टार्टिंग अ पोएम फ्रॉम आवर मेन रीडर. और कौन सी पोएम हम पढ़ने वाले हैं? Poem which is actually one of the last poems in your book, which is for Anne Gregory, and this poem, it is on page number 140 of your textbook. So I hope all of you have the textbook handy. So this poem for Anne Gregory, written by William Butler Yeats, or often abbreviated as W.B. Yeats. This poem revolves around the central, the main theme, or the central theme of this poem talks about how we as humans are often attracted only to the external beauty of a person. How we often ignore the inner beauty of the people around us. Okay, so let us start reading this poem to understand it. And it clearly says this poem is a conversation between a young man and a young woman. So what are they arguing about? Never shall a young man thrown into despair by those great honey-colored ramparts at your ear love you for yourself alone and not your yellow hair. So this conversation, the very first stanza, the conversation between the young man and the young woman. Who's the young woman? Anne Gregory, alright. So some people also say that this is a conversation between poet and Anne Gregory. So the poet, or maybe this young man, is telling Anne Gregory that you're so beautiful that if you reject a proposal by a man, that man is likely to be in a state of despair, that is hopeless. And then he describes that, look how beautiful your hair is. So that he says that your hair is like honey colored, and he says ramparts at your ears, so like those flicks falling on her ears, like this, something like this. So he says that these hair which are falling on your ear are like a protection that a fort has, are like a wall that actually protect you. And he says that he talks about how mainly the youth has this problem of infatuation, that they get attracted to the opposite gender merely based on the external beauty. So when Anne Gregory listens to this, what is the reply that she gives? So the second stanza, she says, but I can get a hair dye and set such color there, brown or black or carrot, that young men in despair may love me for myself alone and not my yellow hair. So Anne Gregory, she replies to the poet or the young man. She says that I can get my hair colored the way I want to. I can get it brown, I can get it black, I can get it carrot colored, any color that I want to, so that a young man would love me for myself, for the person I am, and not my yellow or my honey colored hair. So then the poet also replies. He says, in the last stanza, he gives a very interesting reply. He says, I heard an old religious man but yesternight declare that he had found a text to prove that only God, my dear, could love you for yourself alone and not your yellow hair. So when Anne Gregory says that, I can get my hair color the way I want to be, black, brown, or carrot, whatever I want, so that someone would fall in love with me for the kind of person I am. So the poet or the young man replies that, my dear, I met a wise man once, and he says that it was in a religious text he read that it is only and only God who loves us for the kind of person we are. We as human beings are only focused on the external beauty of people around us, but it is only the Almighty, the Supreme Power, the God, who will love you for the kind of person you are. Okay, so how beautifully in the poem the theme regarding external beauty, infatuation, all these are described. Now we got to know the rhyme scheme of the poem as well as the poetic devices. So time to turn the board. So जो बच्चे मैम को कंटिन्यूसली फॉलो करते हैं उनको अब राइम स्कीम जो है वो अच्छे से समझ आ चुकी है, बिकॉज उनको पता है कि राइम स्कीम में हमने हर एक लाइन को लेबल करना होता है. सो इफ आई टॉक अबाउट द राइम स्कीम ऑफ द पोएम, it is very simple. It is young man A, then B despair, then colored C, then despair and air, and then alone, again a new word, and hair matching with despair. So the rhyme scheme of the poem is A, B, C, B, D, B. So if you look at it, man labeled as A, the first line, then despair labeled as B, then color doesn't rhyme with man or with despair, so labeled as C. Ear or air, despair also some people say, so ear rhyming with despair, so this is also labeled as B. Then alone, not rhyming with any of the words, and the last word hair, despair or despair, again rhyming with hair. So what is the rhyme scheme? A, B, C, B, D, B. So how many lines? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. आप ना ऐसे भी राइम स्कीम चेक कर सकते हो. काउंट द नंबर ऑफ लाइन्स एंड सी कि आपने अल्फाबेट्स जो हैं वो कंप्लीट लिखे हैं या नहीं, लेबलिंग कंप्लीट करी है या नहीं. ओके, नाउ वी टॉक अबाउट द पोएटिक डिवाइसेस. सो द वेरी फर्स्ट पोएटिक डिवाइस is the metaphor. How the poet has called the hair on her ear as ramparts, like walls protecting a fort. Alright. Then you of course have several examples of alliteration. I will give you one example of alliteration from the poem. So probably in the first stanza, your yellow hair. Okay, the ear sound is common. Then of course you also have an example of, let's say you have an example of anaphora. Where is the example of anaphora? If you look at the last stanza, the third line and the fourth line both start with that, or repetition also you can say. And of course if you talk about enjambment here, so if you come to the second stanza, that young man in despair may love me for myself alone and not my yellow hair. So what is happening? These lines are in continuation without the usage of any punctuation marks. So these are the poetic devices, and I have given you examples, and of course you can pick up more examples from the chapter, from the poem, but make sure that they are correct. So I will see you all in the next episode. Till then, do like, share and subscribe to English Wali Ma'am, or popularly on YouTube, Educator Prerna. All the best.